No glove, no love.
That's so cool.
We have almost 1,700 new infections among adolescent girls and young women per week. A stat here is saying that 37% of young women who are between 20 and 24, the last time they had sex, it was in exchange for goods or money.
Oh.
37%.
Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Ghislaine and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, we've been waiting for you. Where have you been? So this is my Women's Month collaboration, and as you know, I bring a very inspirational woman in my life and we get to share knowledge with you guys. So this weekend is all about women's health, and what better topic to touch on than the HIV/AIDS topic. I mean, that's very relevant to us as South Africans, as Africans, and like wherever you are in the world as a woman. I think you need to, tune in with us. But before I ramble on, I have my friend Gemma here, who's an HIV/AIDS researcher.
Hi guys, my name's Gemma Oberth. I'm an HIV researcher, as Ghislaine said, and I also support governments and UN agencies and NGOs as well to help them make decisions about how to spend limited resources so we can get the biggest bang for our buck and end this HIV thing. Yeah, and I'm feeling optimistic about it. So South Africa has made massive strides in recent years. I'm sure we all remember what it used to be like,
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I remember people having to go in the streets and be brave and be like, I'm HIV positive from the cars. I don't know about you guys, but I lived in Observatory and that was a thing every weekend, and seeing how the billboards have really come into play. I remember the HIV/AIDS 2010 Be There, and that was condomized so you can make it to the World Cup, and now look at what's happening, and
yeah, so
you make a difference.
Now we have the biggest treatment program in the entire world, which is something to be proud of. Something that our government almost entirely funds as well, which is something I think
What does that actually mean? What is the biggest AIDS research in the world?
Treatment program. That means we have the most people living with HIV on treatment, living healthy lives in the world.
Awesome.
So almost 4 million people are currently accessing life-saving antiretroviral therapy, which is a 44% increase from 2012. So that's massive. When people were dying without treatment, those days are slowly changing. And as a result, our life expectancy has also risen quite dramatically, up 4 years since 2012. It used to be 60 years. Now in 2017, it's 64 years.
64 years.
And that's mostly thanks to access to treatment for HIV.
Wow, amazing. Mm-hmm. Can you say sorry about my house?
Sorry about my house.
Can you tell she's Canadian? Sorry about my house.
Is that the giveaway?
I'm so sorry. House, you did say it just like that.
That's how I talk, Ghislaine.
I think it's cute. Okay, so we're going to go through a list that Gemma put together about factual matters regarding the HIV/AIDS virus, and then we're going to discuss them in detail. So feel free to comment down below with your questions. You can also DM me if you want some privacy, and yeah, we can just open the discussion a bit more, and maybe at a later stage we can expand this even bigger and have bigger discussions. So yeah.
So I brought some information, seeing as it's Women's Month and you're focusing on women's health. I brought some information focusing on the HIV epidemic among women, and especially young women in South Africa. It really is kind of the biggest challenge we're facing right now, and something we're really trying to figure out how to resolve. So as much as we've made big progress in getting people onto treatment, living longer lives, turning off the tap of new infections is persistently difficult. So the first fact that I want to just explode your brains with is the fact that we have almost 1,700 new infections among adolescent girls and young women per week. Every single week.
That is heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking. So that's a huge challenge.
1,700 girls
in South Africa.
Teenagers, basically.
15 to 24-year-olds.
15 to 24-year-olds get infected
every week. And so that's a big challenge. And if you look at the disparity between the young girls and young boys, it's pretty dramatic. So if I'm a 17-year-old girl, I'm in 11th grade, maybe I'm going to matric soon.
Yeah.
My risk of becoming newly infected with HIV is about 9 times higher than the boy in my class. of my same age.
Wow. So why do you think this is so?
Well, what it tells me is that they're not having sex with the other boys in their class, is it?
Yeah, of the age.
Exactly, yeah. So that's a big factor. So one of the big drivers of this is the fact that young girls are having older partners who are more likely to be living with HIV, all
and
of that.
do you think these older partners are aware of their status?
Most are not, and most are not on treatment, which makes them more infectious. So the numbers is that 35.8% of adolescent girls, so girls 15 to 19 years old, had a partner who's 5 or more years older than them.
So about 30...
So about more than 1 in 3.
Yeah.
More than 1 in 3 teenagers in high school has a partner who's 20, 23, 24. Yeah.
Okay, so basically we've discovered that, you know, young girls are getting infected by older guys, and they're not obviously dating or having sexual relations with kids or partners in their age range. Do you think the blessy and blesser culture has a part to play?
So that's a massive thing. And I think, you know, whatever background you come from, rich, poor, it's become, how should I say it? It's become like glamorized almost. Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of people do it out of necessity, out of poverty. If that's how food gets on their table, if that's how their baby brother gets his school fees paid, we can all understand that. But it's a cultural thing we're also trying to disrupt, where it's become very socially acceptable, almost popularized.
Yeah, it's glamorized and popularized, and it doesn't help that some of the biggest, so there's some artists that praise it, it's in songs, it's, you know, it's a phenomenon thing to do.
But it's huge, guys. So like my other stat here is saying that, you know, 37% of young women who are between 20 and 24, the last time they had sex, it was in exchange for goods or money. 37%, so that's...
Just marinate on that for a second. 37% of young children, the youth are having sex in exchange for money, and it's almost like, how do you compete against an older guy if you're a young guy? Because now, if you go to a kid, to a young person who has, you know, education and all these things, they also want to have fun, they also want to just alleviate the whole stress vibe of the lifestyle. It's not very hard to.
Yeah, and I mean the other thing is that, you know, if you're in a transactional relationship.
Let me see. I think you should come a little closer. Perfect.
So if you're in a transactional relationship where you are exchanging sex for money or goods, how easy do you think it's going to be to tell that dude to put a condom on?
Yeah. How are you going to tell?
What if you don't feel like having sex that day? How easy is it going to be to tell him you're not in the mood?
And then they're going to still tell you, do you want that bag?
Yeah.
Do you want your school fees paid? So I feel like it's almost like we have to crack down on the older guys so much.
Yeah, and programming to target them is limited. And it's something that, you know, we're trying to find out, how do we reach men? How do we appeal to men? How do we get men into services?
Men are trash. Trash. You know, for you to go out there, and I'm sorry to be judgy, but I'm not. To go out there and really talk, because it's not hard. It's not hard for a child to be in school, going through the most, having that stress, and then going home and not having enough. You know, how hard is it to go and say, hey, like, here you go. And then you still want that young girl to tell an older guy to wear a condom. And you know, there's also another culture with boys. They don't want to wear condoms.
I've heard this.
Yeah. There's like videos out there of boys expressing their disdain for wearing a condom and how it doesn't feel the same. So how can we empower the ladies with older guys to encourage them to wear a condom?
Yeah, that's difficult. So the other stat I have is around gender-based violence. That's another factor. Sorry, I'm not answering your question.
It's hard, so we're still working on that.
That's another factor. So there are estimates that about 20 to 25% of new infections are attributable to gender-based violence. And of course, that's all wrapped up together, you know, with partners where you have limited power, a partnership where they may feel they own you.
Yeah.
So it's all tied up, you know, and that's the perfect storm that's creating these 1,700 new infections per week.
Yeah, and I think, you know, we may not have the answers yet, but if you're a young girl out there in this type of situation, it's just good to be aware of it. That's number one. And yeah, hence we're doing this video. But if you're a young girl and you don't know these are the stats, and these are the stats that affect you directly. So be aware, and then like I think every change starts with just awareness.
So yeah, and we're not totally helpless. Like I said, a lot of my work is supporting governments and other organizations to make decisions about what to do about these problems. So recently, South Africa just signed a brand new grant. It's been April 2019.
Wow.
They signed a new grant for $369 million,
Wow.
which is about 5 billion rand. So that's coming from an organization called the Global Fund, which gets donations from rich countries like the UK, US, Japan. So there's a few things that this grant is doing specifically to address the issues we just spoke about. So of that 5 billion rand, about 1.5 of it is going directly to HIV prevention programs for young women. So that's a massive portion of the grant. It's the biggest program for young women that the Global Fund invests in globally.
Wow.
So we're like leaders now in trying to figure out how to address these challenges. So some of the things that I think are pretty interesting in the grant for young women and that maybe your viewers would be interested in is a big investment in campus health programs.
Oh yeah.
So this is an investment in like the clinics, in the universities and the TVET colleges to make sure those clinics are running, are well resourced, have all of the right commodities and drugs and nurses and staff information.
Awesome. So you're going to have all these things on campus?
In uni, yeah. So people can access this for free in university. And one of the big things that we're running through these campus clinics is access to a daily prevention pill called PrEP. So it stands for pre-exposure prophylaxis, but you can just think of it as like be prepared, PrEP.
Yeah.
That's how I remember.
So basically if you're going to have a turn-up, if you can feel the turn-up brewing, and then you can go get this pill and take it before you have the weekend with, having fun doing your thing. And it just prevents you from. It's like almost like a pill.
It's kind of like a birth control pill.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you feel like you're in a lot of risk, maybe all the time, you can take it every single day and prevent HIV to a very, very high degree of efficacy. But if you're someone who maybe studies all year round and doesn't do much partying, but maybe over the holiday season, it's going to go down.
Yeah.
Then you can just take it before and after that holiday season. So it's
How
really.
How long is it?
You have to take it for about a week before it starts to work. It really is a lot like the birth control pill if you think of it like that.
And then once you take it for a week prior to you having sex, does it work for? How long does it work for? Does it stay in your system?
You have to take it every day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, once a day.
Okay, so it's really like a bird, and it doesn't interrupt any other medications, I suppose.
I don't know. It's something you'd have to talk to the campus clinic about. But they're advising young girls on how they can take this, who needs it, but it's available for free in these priority clinics for young women. So that's something to maybe ask your doctor the next time you go if you think you might be at risk and you think it might be something that can help you.
And then, so this is not for men. It's only formulated for women.
So at the moment, it's anyone can get access to it in South Africa with a prescription. If you go to your doctor and say, I think I'm at risk, that you can talk about it with your doctor. You have to pay for it though. So the ones the government is rolling out for free is targeting adolescent girls and young women, women who sell sex workers, and also gay men and other men who have sex with men. So
so it does work in men too.
It does, yeah. Okay. But those are the target populations for the government. But it's you can get it at clicks. If you want it, you'd have to just pay for it.
Okay, so it's accessible.
Yeah.
This is great.
So that's one thing that we're doing. The other thing we're also doing on the clinics or on the campuses rather, the unis and TVETs, is to put in commodity vending machines. So think of those vending machines where you get like a chocolate bar, Coca-Cola, but instead of that, it has like condoms, lubes, pregnancy tests, HIV self-screening tests, menstrual health products, kind of all that stuff you need for your sexual and reproductive health and happiness.
This is amazing.
So those are going to be installed all over unis and TVETs so that young women have access to commodities they need to protect themselves. So the last thing that I think is interesting, this is more targeting more vulnerable kind of out of school girls, is a cash transfer program. So what that means is that once a month, a bunch of, how many girls is it? I need to check. I think it's like 11,000 girls in Western Cape and then another 22,000 in KZN. something like that, are part of this program. So they get 300 Rand a month through the grant, and the idea is to make sure that their basic needs are covered, like food, transport, things they need in their lives, so that they are less likely to have these lesser relationships.
Okay, that's actually really great, because I know people who used to, like in my school, did for taxi rides. So
that's a thing here as well, the taxi queens. Yeah. So, and I mean, a lot of it is driven by basic necessity. Yeah. So we hope that this 300 Rand a month will allow these young girls to make different decisions.
Use it on transport.
They can use it on whatever they want.
Oh yeah.
So there's evidence from all over Africa that this has worked really well to prevent new infections.
Where else has it worked?
They're doing it in Malawi and also in Kenya and also in Zambia. Yeah. And they've done studies on what are these girls actually spending the money on. Because you'll always have the naysayers saying, oh, they're going to spend it on booze, they're going to spend it on...
I think a little bit of booze here and there, why not?
But they did a study to find out what are they actually spending it on, and they're spending it on things like school uniforms and stationery and transport and toiletries. Go figure.
Us ladies have got our stuff sorted out.
So that's quite exciting. So we're evaluating that program now to see if it's actually working. But I'm very optimistic that all of these different strategies we're employing will help turn that 1,700 new infections to a 0.
This has been so insightful, Gemma. It's prompted me to go and read up a bit more. I think you should do the same as well. I will link all the information for the pills and the different programs in the description box below, so that you can also go read up on it and have access to it.
If you want more information, I think the best place to go to is the South African National AIDS Council's website. So if you go www.sanac.coza, they have all the information on the latest epidemic trends and also where they're investing this money, what kind of programs, what progress we're making. They actually just released their new progress report today. Awesome. So check it out. Stay informed.
We should all stay informed as Africans, as women. But just a quick one. If you want to be an AIDS researcher like Gemma, what do you do? Because Gemma travels all around the world. She interacts with a whole bunch of people. Didn't you just come from Peru or something?
Yeah.
Peru, she's in Malawi, she's in Kenya, she's everywhere, really making a change and saving the world.
You study, that's the trick.
What did you study?
I studied politics, HIV policies, but I was really interested in how governments write policy and make decisions about what strategies they're going to take to fight AIDS.
And how long is that?
There's different courses. So what I would actually recommend, Stellenbosch University has a course dedicated directly to this, a specialized course, a master's degree in management of HIV. It's an excellent course run by a friend of mine, actually run by the former director of the Treatment Action Campaign.
Oh, cool.
So fantastic opportunity. If this is what you want to go do, you got to study, you got to know your stats. But there's lots of opportunities here to get qualified and then to really go make a difference.
Sweet. Well, thank you so much for being here, Gemma. Do you have anything you want to leave women with, being that it's Women's Month? Any words you want to leave us with?
No glove, no love.
That's so cool. And on that note, thank you so much for joining me. Gemma and I are out. So, bye.